Hello everyone. Could we ever imagine what it would be like if athletes refuse physical training which is required to maintain a refined level of expertise in their chosen sport? It would be just unthinkable. St. Paul exhorts in Romans 8:13, "If you mortify the ways of nature, through the power of the Spirit, you will have life." Mortification and penances are the spiritual training that makes us winners of the race and winners of the good fight, affirms St. Paul in 2 Timothy 4:7. Let me tell you, the purpose of mortification is to train our souls to virtuous and holy living, while penance has to do with our interior motive behind the action. There are amazing stories about the ways in which saints tamed their flesh. You may know quite many of them. But today I would like to share with you about an amazing person of our holy patron St.Charles Borromeo, the one who stands distinct and extraordinary as a self-mortifier. St. Paul says in 2 Corinthians 4:18, "So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." Charles, the man of prayer, put this advice into practice at a very early age. Initially, he seemed to have clung to exterior luxury which his high position demanded. But after the sudden death of his brother Federico, his manner of life had undergone a marked transformation. This event proved to be God sent for him to leap from a life of ordinary virtue to that of a complete sacrifice of worldly glory. His ascetic ways were easily noticeable through his pious gestures anywhere. At the sound of the Angelus bell, he would promptly interrupt any occupation, kneel and get immersed in profound recollection and prayer. He knelt on a bare ground wherever he happened to be, even in the mud of the streets. At times he would not celebrate his Mass without going for confession. He had a deep sense of remorse for even the least trace of trespassing. Thus the practice of penance and asceticism was his aspiration to follow closely in the footsteps of Christ crucified. During the Middle Ages, the idea of extreme forms of asceticism and self-mortification for higher levels of sanctity and holiness grew popularly in Catholicism. Particularly priests and religious attempted to quell the desires of the flesh by self-inflicted pain and suffering. Charles the Cardinal was no exception to this. He always preferred hard work, foregoing even sleep and meals in order to accomplish all the work his responsibilities demanded. His meals were very frugal, consisting of bread and water. He chose wooden plank rather than having soft bed. He wore the hair sheet next to his body. St. Charles not only possessed mortified soul, but he manifested it even in his appearance. Unbelievably, a man of noble birth denied all material and external riches to an extent that he strictly avoided all personal elegance. He cultivated great love for poverty. His clothes were so shabby that even beggars refused to wear them. Believing in these mortifying practices, the saint would convincingly affirm, "The candle that gives light must itself be consumed." In order to gain the elevation of the spirit, he underwent mortification of flesh to such an extent that his body became like a skeleton. His features emaciated, but his soul increased in strength and courage. His humility, love, and zeal for prayer gradually reached the heights of sublimity. He spent long hours of the day and night in contemplation. He increased his penances and austerities. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. John 10:11. The spirit of mortification reached to its climax when Charles made his last will. Ready to lay down his life in the service of plague-stricken people. To provide for their needs, he sacrificed all his goods, distributed even his own clothing for the poor. During the plague, he even walked barefooted in the public streets, carrying the cross with a rope around his neck, offering himself as a victim to God for the transgressions of the people. He prayed a little office of the Blessed Virgin Mary daily. With constant practice of abstinence and self-mortification, St. Charles tempered his strong character and developed his talent, which made of him a tireless man of action, a wise bishop, a zealous reformer, a gentle shepherd of souls, and a hero of holiness. He literally fulfilled the conditions of the Divine Master, and that is, if a man wishes to follow me, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Matthew 16:24. We, the Sisters of St. Charles Borromeo, feel privileged to have such an exemplary saint as our patron, to continue our prophetic mission and proclaim to the world the absoluteness of the God who is love. Thank you.